How many of you have stayed up later than you meant to, watching something or playing a video game? I mean, you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed after this episode, but then autoplay kicks in, and you really want to know what happens next, and you're like, I'm making this choice for myself, but are you really? Is this a metaphor for life? Let's find out in today's 5-minute devotional from John chapter 8, verses 31 through 36. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "We are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free?" Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." So, we're learning a couple important things from Jesus today, and one of them is that so oftentimes we think that we're making choices for ourselves in life, and we're just free to make whatever choice we want. And in a sense, that's true, but we think we're making our own decisions, but if we're choosing what we know is wrong, we're actually letting ourselves get controlled. We're letting ourselves get controlled by sin, and we're not actually free when that happens. Now, I mentioned the example about thinking that you're going to choose to just watch one thing, and you watch a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that it's a sin to stay up too late watching shows on the internet, but I'm saying it's an example that a lot of us can relate to of what is the same dynamic that can oftentimes be at work, or really is all the time at work with sin. I think we're choosing something, but no. We're not the ones in control. We've given over control. So that's sort of the bad news. But the good news is what can set us free. And Jesus says two things in these short number of verses about what sets us free. First of all, he says the truth. If he's talking to people who become his disciples, and he says, "If you abide in my word, and you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Abiding in the truth. So what he's talking about is Jesus is saying to listening and following him. So if we listen to what Jesus says, and we are his followers, that brings freedom. And the second thing he says about freedom: if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So the truth sets us free, and the Son himself sets us free. And if you don't know, that's Jesus. He's talking about himself as the Son. And as will happen later in this book, Jesus dies and then comes back. So in his death and resurrection, as get explained in the rest of the New Testament, breaks the power of death and of sin. Those things are linked together. So his very self can set you free, can set you and me free from that slavery to sin, to what we feel like we're choosing for ourselves, but is actually controlling us. So if there's anything you're trapped in, whatever you and I are trapped in, Jesus can free us from that. And that's the good news from today's passage.